Let's go racing Dakar, baby.
No matter how much excitement or enthusiasm one has, the Dakar Rally is so immense, it can make anyone feel and look insignificant. It can stretch you beyond your bounds and scare the life out of you. Every competitor is made to feel like a hero, whether in Paraguay, Bolivia or Argentina. Not one day is the same. There are times when you just want to stand, and others where you're forced to lie. It's the only time you hear a man behind the wheel admit he doesn't know where he's going. You better come ready for 4 seasons in a day and be ready to smile in any condition. Early mornings, late nights, river crossings and high flights. Some are unique, like Soul Stars and Stripes. There's an incredible pride in fighting this fight. Sometimes the locals get a little too close, when all you want is a little more space. But hey, it's all part of the ultimate off-road race. You have to be ready for anything, and today is a perfect example. If there's one thing the Dakar reminds us of every year, is that there is so much natural beauty on this planet. So much to be in awe of. But every now and then, and in the Dakar 2017's case more than once, we're reminded that there's nothing stronger than Mother Nature. Today's 9th stage was cancelled due to an enormous landslide in the village of Vulcan. Many of the trucks could not make it through to Salta to begin the stage to Chilocito, so instead the stage was used as a mass transport day to get everyone together safely in Chilocito for stage 10. Yesterday morning, after heavy rainstorms in the north of Argentina, a massive landslide hit the little village of Vulcan, causing the death of 2 people. Houses were flooded, and it was a tragic scene. These images are not only confronting but heartbreaking. In addition to the deaths, thousands were left homeless after being forced to evacuate. The village, 25 miles north of Hoi Hoi, was due to be crossed by the competitors of the Dakar on their liaison towards Salta. The landslide changes the situation radically. Competitors are stopped and redirected.
The main road for the liaison to go to the Salta bivouac was hit by a landslide. There are 6 to 10 metres of mud on the road, so we've had to stop the entire Dakar caravan on the liaison to give them a new itinerary to go to Salta.
After the day's special, all competitors would have to drive more than 185 miles in rain and, in stark contrast, some parts on dusty tracks just to reach the Salta bivouac late last night. Meanwhile, in Salta, far from the drama, the race organisers set up operations to help the local authorities.
There is considerable damage in terms of material and human losses. We've offered our services to help the people hit by this disaster with our teams and our sanitary means. We've been having meetings with local authorities for the past 2 hours to see how we can help.
Slowly, the first competitors reached the Salta bivouac late last night.
Sad day. We weren't aware of the news until now.
We've just done the liaison by another road. It was actually a track, the former Route 40. We were in a cloud of dust because we were following the assistance trucks that we were trying to overtake. I've done some crazy things in my life, but nothing like this.
J'en ai fait des choses folles dans ma vie, mais ça, j'avais pas encore fait.
We're free to leave on liaison any time from 7 a.m. Tomorrow's stage from Salta to Chilecito is cancelled. It will be a free convoy. The goal is to gather together in the Chilecito bivouac and then continue the Dakar in normal conditions.
As they reached the end of their long journey, very few were aware of just how serious the situation was.
From the mountains, they cut the wood, and after they go to the village, and there is some people died under it.
Really?
Yes.
I feel very sad for the people of Argentina. If we can help in any way, we're here. I feel really bad.
During the entire night, cars, bikes and trucks would reach base, while many others were still far, far away.
It's 3 in the morning and we have 79 bikes, 17 cars and 23 trucks here. It's going to be a long night.
La nuit va être longue.
While some had reached Salta, an improvised bivouac was set up in Tilcara, where many stopped to rest or meet their assistance crews a long way from base. Another long day would start for the remaining competitors of the Dakar. Early in the afternoon, 121 bikes out of 135, 50 cars out of 69 and 39 trucks out of 48 had either reached the Salta bivouac or were already on their way towards the Chilecito bivouac. A reminder of the route thus far and what's left. With the cancellation of today's 10th stage, it means time is running out for those who need to make a move. It's as simple as this tomorrow: Chilecito to San Juan, Friday San Juan to Rio Cuarto, and Saturday Rio Cuarto to the finish in Buenos Aires. After the break, we'll recap the big stories of the rally so far as Dakar prepares for the final 3 stages. That's next. This area of South America has been made famous by more than just the Dakar Rally. It's also where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid met their end. There's even a museum of artifacts as a tribute to the famous robbers. One of the traits of the Dakar is it pays no favours, not even for a champion. KTM's Toby Price crashed out and was airlifted out of stage 4 with a broken left leg. His teammate Matthias Walkner endured the same fate last year, but here in 2017 already has won a stage and could pull off the overall victory. Honda hero Juan Barreda should be more in the mix, having won 2 stages, but a 1-hour time penalty for all Honda riders for illegal refuelling really hampered his chances. KTM's British star Sam Sunderland is finally getting the Dakar he's always wanted. A stage win, but more importantly, the overall leader for the last 3 consecutive stages. When your name's Ricky Brabeck and you're the one and only American in Dakar 2017, how do you ensure you get noticed? You go out and win a stage of the Dakar for the very first time. That's how, and that's exactly what Ricky did on stage 8.
I won a stage in Dakar. That's awesome. I don't have any words to say because I've never won a stage. I wanted to do better than last week. Last week was rough for me and rough for the team with our penalty. You know, as a whole team, we made a mistake. But you know, I think we have a good chance still. You know, there's 5 days left of racing, and a lot can happen.
And it did the very next day. He found it difficult opening the road and lost time. Had a minor crash in the dunes, no major damage, and ultimately finished outside the top 10. Juan Barreda showed us how to get out of a muddy bog. And even though he lost time with this incident, it hardly affected him in the big picture. He went on to win stage 9, the only rider so far to win 2 stages in the bikes this year. That's part of the Spaniard's story about catching up. Can you imagine if the first Dakar that Sunderland actually finishes, he wins? That would be a remarkable story. Has Barreda got a chance at an hour and 10 back? And Ricky Brabeck still has his eyes on another top 10.
Today I was on the bike for about 16 hours.
This morning started off in the fog and the freezing cold. Navigation then was difficult, and then we finished the first special. Then we heard there was a rainstorm. We all got kind of worried, and then at the end of that special, they told us the road was closed off due to a mudslide. At the gas station, they gave us a road book to take a different route, and then that's when we went back up and over the mountains where it was freezing cold again. We're one of the first guys here, and I left this first special this morning at 7 a.m., first bike off, and I just got here, and it's 10:15 at night. So, this is the longest day that my butt's been on a seat. So it's hard, you got to keep the mental focus of paying attention to traffic, not falling asleep, and I rode about 4 hours at nighttime tonight with tinted lenses, so I had to be careful and ride really slow. So I went from the freezing cold to the warm, so it's pretty crazy, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out there tonight, and hopefully they're safe with all the traffic. That's part of Dakar, and nothing's easy in the Dakar.
Dakar, Monsieur Dakar. Stefan Peterhansel is the James Bond of the rally. Fix anything, do anything. But is he about to meet his match from someone within his own team? The cars race so far is next.
My first competition, it was a skateboarding, French champion of skateboard. I saw that my spirit was really good for competition. When I changed after skateboard, I changed to motorcycle. It was with a wheel, but only 2 wheels. 88 with my motorcycle, it was my first Dakar. I remember Harry Vatanen with a Peugeot. He overtook me. When I saw that, I said, one day I want to be a driver of Peugeot. More than 20 years, Peugeot decided to go back in Dakar, and they contact me, so for sure it was like a dream. The first year was not easy, and last year we won the Dakar together. So not the end of the story for me, but it was really important for me to win last year for Peugeot. My first victory was 25 years ago, and I won last year. So I say 25 years at the top of this race, how is possible? And I don't know how it's possible.
Stefan Peterhansel came in as the senior leader of what many believe is the Peugeot super team. Along with Carlos Sainz and Cyril Dupre, the trio have 18 Dakar wins between them. Sebastian Loeb is the outsider but comes in with 9 WRC titles. Nonetheless, they came into this Dakar as the favourites, and Loeb picked up their first stage win in the second stage.
I had a good drive. Then I was I think the 70 last case behind the Villiers in the dust and couldn't do anything. But the car was working perfectly and no problem at all at the moment.
The following day, the route featured more navigation and the Dakar vet Peterhansel was fastest on the day.
We are consistent, we never stopped, no mistake of navigation also, and we know that the driver of the Peugeot, they are probably good, not the best, but the team is really strong.
Logic suggests Sainz was next in line for a victory, but it was actually Cyril Dupre.
We overtake Carlos, and Carlos overtake us, and we stay the whole day together, trying to keep the rhythm of Carlos Sainz. It's quite tough, but we made it, and unfortunately he rolled the car a few Ks ago.
We arrived into a braking point a little bit too quick. The car turned sideways. I cut the inside, then flipped me over, and then I roll a few times down also a little bit of a drop. A drop maybe 15 meters, something like that.
Sainz was out, but Peugeot didn't miss a beat. The competition between the teammates was intensifying.
We finished third today, and we take the lead for nothing, but it's better than to be in the back.
Loeb countered on stage 5 with his second win, only a minute 30 faster than Peterhansel.
Really unpredictable. But at the moment I'm happy because Daniel did a good job. I think he understood a lot better than last year how it works.
5 days on 4 different leaders. This is a good race, good start of the race.
After 2 days off, the race resumed between the two legends. It was Peter Hansel's turn, a second stage win by only 48 seconds.
Yeah, I'm really happy because today we did a good navigation, no mistake at all. And but we won the stage, but with a small gap.
That gave Peter Hansel the overall lead going into yesterday, but the shortened stage played to Loeb's favour, and he won for a third time to retake the overall lead.
It was a good win. I tried really hard today because it was some WRC tracks, very fast section, nearly only on the track, so I tried really to make the gap.
Since stage 2, Loeb, Peter Hansel and Dupre have been trading off stage wins, 6 in a row. They've also led the overall standings after each of those 6 days, and both Loeb and Peter Hansel have led back-to-back. Right now, Peugeot are primed for a podium sweep with 3 stages remaining. 2014 champ Nanny Roma might not have enough time to win the overall, but don't count him off the podium. For more, here's Neil Cole.
Thanks, Lee. This is Chilecito, and that is the 3 leading cars, Dakar 2017. I could say something cheesy about the fact that they're lined up ready at the goalposts, but they certainly are. And the key battle here is between these 2 cars, 309 closest to me with the white on the roof, and 300 next to it with the yellow on the roof. That's Sebastian Loeb's car right up against Stefan Peter Hansel's car. Now, what's brilliant is Sebastian Loeb did his first Dakar last year, and he's one of those people that learns. You don't win 9 World Rally Championships without being smart up here and knowing when to push and when not to push. On the other hand, Stefan Peter Hansel has won so many Dakars on bikes and on cars because he's a wily fox. But I think even Peter Hansel knows that he's met his match with Loeb because Loeb is quicker. There's no doubt about it. Loeb can go much quicker than Peter Hansel, but Peter Hansel tends to play the longer game. Since last year, Loeb's co-driver, Daniel Alain, has learnt how to do the navigation side of things much better, which means he's less likely to throw it away in the navigation section. So we may well see this battle going right down to the wire. And I spoke to Stefan yesterday, and he said that he knows he's not going to be able to make Sebastian Loeb crack under pressure. He's not going to react to any kind of psychological pressure. He's just going to have to beat him flat out on the stages. While speaking to Seb, he knows that it's Mr. Consistent, Stefan Peter Hansel, who could just get all the way to the finish and win the rally. So this is the crucial battle. There's the team just about to assess the car, probably take it away because lots of people seem to be intent on stealing it. But this is the battle. There's a couple of other cars around us that you can't see right now. They are still in the mix, but not really. Watch these 3. Even Dupre has a chance. He's in 3rd.
Thanks, Neil. The bikes is the only guaranteed class where there will be a first-time winner. So with 3 stages to go, take a careful look at the top 3 in each class. Who has shown you enough in this rally so far to convince you that they'll win? Coming up, weather having a huge impact on the Dakar journey is nothing new as we dig into the Dakar Vault. With 2 stages of this rally cancelled due to flooding, let's look back at one of the first Dakar that encountered serious weather issues. This is a place in the world that geographers describe as the desert of deserts. It's the Tenere, the heart of the Sahara, the heart of the Niger, the heart of the Tuareg people. On January 12th, after 90 miles of the day's stage between Durku and Agadir, the wind began to pick up, and without any warning, the Tenere was hit by a terrible sandstorm. Competitors began to lose their way, and only a handful of motorbikes made it through to the refueling stop at the Tree of Tenere. Anxiety started to take over. A number of riders, amazingly, were able to keep going. After over 8 hours in the seat, Marc Journeau won the stage, perhaps one of the greatest exploits in the history of the Dakar. While eventual winner, Hubert Auriol, wasn't far behind. But the majority were lost in the middle of nowhere. Some had already prepared themselves for spending the night in the desert. The organisers sent in helicopters to look for them when they could actually take off. In the Tenere, the dunes rise gradually on one side before a sheer drop on the other, and one should never stray far from the distance markers.
We were lost. We jumped over the dunes, but we managed to make it before nightfall. That's the main thing. We're happy.
Where is the rest of the Honda team right now?
For the moment, we have Drobek, Neveu and the two girls. The three others are lost. Vassar and Deul, we couldn't find them.
Night fell, and nobody knew exactly how many competitors were lost in the desert. With the return of daylight, they began to turn up, even though the day's stage was already underway.
We got lost 30 kilometers from here. There was a terrible sandstorm and we couldn't see a thing. We couldn't see any tracks. It was a real catastrophe. When night fell, it was hell. We couldn't see further than 3 meters, so we were forced to set up a bivouac. If we had kept going, I think we would have got really lost.
But Christine Caron, Bernadette Sassy, Gilles Durle and Philippe Vassard were still missing. 3 planes flew over the Tenere and the Nigerian army also joined the hunt, but after 72 hours there was no news, no trace of the missing competitors. Fortunately, Gilles Durle and Philippe Vassard ended up reaching Agadir after walking more than 35 miles in the desert, while Bernadette Sassy and Christine Caron were rescued by Tuaregs. In 1983, the Tenere Desert became part of Dakar folklore. Once again, today's stage was cancelled due to complications following a mudslide along the route. While the competitors appear safe, our thoughts are with the people of Argentina affected by this tragedy, and we hope for brighter and safer days for this rally. Continuing coverage of the 39th Dakar Rally tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For our entire NBC Sports team, I'm Lee Diffie, saying thanks for taking the Dakar journey with us. There's no question when the 488 competitors started this year's Dakar, they knew they needed to be ready for anything.